Center for International Policy, Matt Duss, and the columnist for Tablet Magazine, Jamie Kirchick. Here are the things people want to know. What explains Israel's intelligence failure? Yes, we never got to that. Why? I mean, wow. I mean, Netanyahu was always the security guy. I mean, people, oh, he's an asshole, but he's our asshole, and he's going to keep us safe. And Israel was always
his main argument.
Yes, and always great at this kind of stuff. And they have to be. They live in the roughest neighborhood in the world. How did this happen? Great question.
Well, I think there was the operational level where they took out some sensors, right? And somehow the Israelis didn't see that. But I think there was a larger strategic picture where they really did not think that Hamas would attempt something like this. They thought that Hamas was something that they could sort of deal with them in some way, but that they
were letting in guest workers.
They were letting in guest workers that Hamas would not be so irrational or suicidal, whatever word you want to use, to actually perpetrate something.
Yeah, I mean, I would make 2 points here. One is just to understand the scope of the intelligence failure here. We're talking about, I think it's some 1,500 Hamas fighters who were killed inside Israel. You had probably another 500 more who took the hostages back into Gaza. So we're talking at least 2,000 people.
Right.
That's a lot of people talking.
To keep a secret.
That's a lot. Yes, exactly right. The idea that Israeli intelligence could not figure this out or know that something was going on. But also the second point, you know, I made reference to this, the settlements to Ben-Gvir, and Israeli security officials and others have suggested that one of the problems that you had a lot of Israeli security redeployed to the West Bank to protect settler groups for the purposes of promoting settlements, attacking Palestinians, and that left the fence line relatively undefended, which also suggests that Hamas themselves may have been shocked at how easy it was to cross through.
Also, I may say, too many Jewish holidays. A lot of...
I'm gonna let that one slide.
A lot of the
as a Christian who got Jewish holidays, I disagree.
A lot of the soldiers were like on leave, and you know.
Well, it was 50 years after to the day of the Yom Kippur War.
You'd think they would see that coming.
Yeah, it's like Lou Gehrig and Lou Gehrig's disease, right? None of you know.
What are the odds?
What are the odds?
Okay. Will Ohio Representative Jim Jordan? This is hysterical. What's going on? And if it wasn't our Congress, I'd laugh harder. But win enough votes to become Speaker. How does having a Speaker of the House impact military aid?
I'm actually more concerned. Can someone get this guy a gift certificate to Brooks Brothers?
Yeah, right.
I mean, seriously.
I mean, politicians have always done the shirt sleeve rolled up, but not always.
Yeah.
Just when you're trying to make a point and like, I'm a man of the people, but sometimes you have a jacket on.
Yeah.
Okay, but now, again, if I may have this recap wrong, but he was the choice at the beginning of the week.
Endorsed by Trump.
Couldn't get the, because Trump endorsed him. Last week I heard it was going to be Trump himself. Because this is crazy in America. You don't have to be a member of Congress to be the Speaker of the House.
Right.
Shouldn't you? Is that not a law we should have?
And then Trump realized that you have to do stuff.
Right.
It does involve actual work.
Oh, a lot of work, yes. But, okay, so then they went to Steve Scalise. Steve Scalise, the guy, he was, you know, hard right-winger from Louisiana.
David Duke without the baggage, as he described.
That's in his own words.
In his own words,
he said that. David Duke without the baggage. I guess that... that little
the word baggage is doing a lot in that phrase there.
Baggage is that's when you can't even get it closed.
Yeah.
You know, you're just trying to get the suit in. Yes, but and now they're back as of. Well, by the time this goes on the air, it'll probably be stale. But now they're back to Jim Jordan, the former gym teacher. I call him
like Dennis Hastert, the former wrestling coach.
Well, he was an assistant wrestling coach, right?
Yeah, he was. Jim Jordan.
I call him Jim Jordan.
Yes. And you know, obviously some very troubling allegations in his past.
What?
Obviously some very troubling allegations in his past about.
You know what they say?
Yes.
You know what they say? Those who can't teach Jim. And those who can't teach Jim become Speaker of the House.
It's so true. Right. But that's true. The other gym teacher who was a Speaker of the House, Dennis Hastert, he was a child molester, right?
Yeah.
Convicted. Okay. This guy is not a child molester, but he did let it go on.
That is the allegation, yes.
That's the allegation.
Yes.
Okay, we're just allegedly that he knew about it but didn't do anything to stop it.
Right.
Kind of like, he was Joe Paterno to Jerry Sandusky.
Yep. That's
Remember
exactly
Jerry's?
it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly it.
Sorry, did that depress you? Now that Bob Menendez, another beaut,
Oh boy.
the guy with the gold
You know, I
bars
mean,
in his
just-
jacket.
He was just this FARUP charge, this foreign agent registry charge.
Will he be? Yeah.
I mean, which is in addition to the bribery, which is pretty amazing, because I mean, working in Washington, and James probably knows, is like to run afoul of FARA, the Foreign Agents Registration Act. You have to want to get caught. These are so loosely enforced, and as with the bribery charge, when you read what he actually did, it's like Menendez was like, challenge accepted. I am going to be so blatant and sloppy.
Okay. Will the U.S. right to freeze access to the $6 billion in funds it transferred to Iran as part of the prisoner deal we negotiated, or was the U.S. right to freeze that?
Yes.
We negotiated last month. Okay, so if people don't know, we wanted to get how many people back? Five?
We got them back.
And we got them back, and we paid $6 billion.
We didn't pay it. It was money that was owed to Ukraine.
Okay.
No, it was Iran's money from oil that had been
Sold to
under
South Korea.
sanction.
Okay,
Yeah.
but we made the deal.
We did.
We got the people back,
Yeah.
and now we're not giving them the money.
Which is
I mean, I'm not taking Iran's side in this, but we did have a deal.
I mean, we have a history of breaking deals with Iran, unfortunately, but
With everybody.
I mean, the charge was made that I think Tim Scott and others made this completely demagogic, false claim that this money helped to fund the attacks we saw last weekend, which is absurd for a number of reasons, not least of which is none of this money had been dispersed yet. They haven't seen a cent.
But there's a larger point that we should have maintained the pressure campaign on Iran that the Trump administration started, and that was rolled and dialed back by the Biden administration, and it has allowed.
That's really not true. They've kept in almost every element.
They've not maintained
of the Trump. No, they
they've not
absolutely
maintained
what we
the
have.
should have done is
They
kept the
absolutely
deal
have.
Obama made.
Right.
No.
That's exactly what
No?
we should have done.
No way.
No.
No way.
I mean, that's
This
absolutely
regime,
what we should have done.
this Iranian regime, how can you make a deal with this Iranian
If
regime?
you have a deal that keeps them away from a nuclear weapon, make that fucking deal.
And they did. And Obama
That's right.
made that deal.
That's
and
right.
It was like this is.
With a sunset clause of 12 years. Okay, so we would just postpone by 12 years the date that they got a nuclear weapon.
Okay. Well, no deal is perfect. Isn't that what we're saying about the Palestinians
That's
with
right.
the West Bank? They could have had their own country many times. Not many times, but a few times. Certainly
And
in
again,
2000.
there are deals
They
that
could have
Israel
had
could have taken and didn't.
Right. They could have had 97% of the West Bank. But it was not perfect, as no deal is, because Israel was not about to give it to them, just say, oh, you know what, do your thing. They were like, yes, we have to keep an eye on you for very good reason. But over time, if they had taken that deal, where would the world be today in 2023? If there had been if Arafat had taken that deal, and in 2000 there was a date, yes, then you show Israel we're not out
somehow
to get.
we got back to Israel-Palestine from Iran.
Okay.
But I'll just get back to the Iran deal for a minute. I think important to understand about this $6 billion is that it was going to be, it's handled and held by Qatar, and was going to be spent by Qatar on specific humanitarian items. So it's not like we're giving Iran under strict monitoring.
But money is fungible.
Yes.
Money is fungible. And money that can go to paying for humanitarian goods can be also used on
No, but it's
nefarious
not as
purposes.
if, and listen, as they say, the military eats first, right? So Iran has not been, even though they're under some of the heaviest sanction in the world, they still have not been, they still have money to spend on their military and all their, their nefarious activities. This is just giving money to actually help their people. Again, not defending this regime. No one should. But I think let's understand the nature of this $6 billion and what it's going to be
I got
used
one
for.
last question. I've been hearing a lot this week that Nikki Haley is really kicking ass. That she's rising up in the Republican Party. There she is. And I see George Will's column says Tim Scott should bow out of the race, throw his support to Nikki Haley, encourage everybody else in the race to do the same thing, that this is the viable alternative to Donald Trump. And if we just had a race, if we just had a Republican race with just two people and Nikki Haley was the alternative, it's possible that she would take it from Trump.
There's a chance. There's a chance. And I thought she did great in the first debate, not as good in the second debate. But look, he has over 50%, Trump does.
Now.
And that's now, and yeah.
But if it was just two people,
perhaps
so
she would have a fighting chance. And yes, I would absolutely, that all the other Republicans running now need to do their patriotic duty and do what they didn't do the last time. And they need to rally behind one anti-Trump alternative.
and she's...
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. You know, if you remember, you know, Trump has not really taken her on yet. He's waiting. If you remember from, you know, Lord of the Rings, you know, the eye of Sauron. Once the eye of Trump turns to Nikki Haley with all its withering power.
Like that. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.